We're fighting handling problems, as we already said, but this is the scariest qualifying session you'll ever have. When we come to Atlanta, it's one of these places where you know you can go fast if you're brave enough. And you've got to hold the gas down, and the car moves around a lot here. You got those bumps, and you are going really, really fast. But, folks, these are the banks of America right here, and you better hang on to them because you're going to be going fast.
And this is why they just sang the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Right.
It's going to take both to sit on the pole here tonight. Speed coverage of Sprint Cup pole qualifying brought to you by Subway after this. NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying on speed is presented by Subway, home of the famous always made fresh $5 footlong. Subway, eat fresh. And brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing news, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. Well, the man who finished first in Las Vegas is lined up first tonight. Dick Berggren.
Kyle Busch is NASCAR's hottest driver. Last week he won at his home track of Las Vegas. Last year he won here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, but not the fastest car in practice. 19th. What have you got for us tonight?
I'm not sure, Dick. We're working on it, trying to figure out something, trying to make it faster. But you know, we're just a little bit off today with the tire and what's going on here this weekend. So hopefully we can find something here, get a good solid run for tonight for our qualifying effort. Work on it more tomorrow, get it better for then.
Okay, go get him. Thank you. Thank you.
And rolling out second, Jimmie Johnson. Now, last week in Vegas, very uncharacteristic for you, but now you roll off second. You're at a track you love, a track you swept in 07. How do you mentally prepare from last week's race to tonight's qualifying?
Last week, I was aggressive. I had such a good race car. And in my mind, I was convinced that with the 7 laps remaining, I could still win the race. And I probably shouldn't have had that mindset. Probably should have just looked for a top 5 or something. But it's easy to get rid of that. I know the mistake that I made, and we had a frustrating day. Made a lot of mistakes, as a group throughout the day, and I was trying to get back from that. We had a pit yellow flag come out at the wrong time that hurt us. Our teammate had a flat and knocked the fender off. So, I just was in the wrong frame of mind. And you live and learn. Learn from my mistakes. And today, it's odd because you would think you'd come to this track and really drive hard and challenge yourself, but the cars have no grip. I'm not sure what's exactly doing it, but my first lap, I went into turn 3 just to come and get the green, and I was in the 4th lane and didn't know what in the world was going on. So it's been an interesting day here for all the teams, and I'm not really sure what to expect in qualifying, but strap it in and pull them tight and sail it off into one.
I'm going to tell you something sweet. The Lowe's car, Jimmie Johnson, they roll off in Candyland, right smack in between the M&Ms and the Reese's car, Mike.
Thanks, Krista. The sun has nearly set in Atlanta. There it goes over the horizon. And when it goes away, cars will be on the racetrack. Ends this session as it does with every Sprint Cup qualifying session, and the drivers who must qualify on time are right there based on the way that they practiced. Those are their practice rank overall, beginning with Allmendinger 10th. Tony Stewart, Champions Provisional if he needs it. If he doesn't, it's there for Bill Elliott again if needed. But 4 cars are going home.
Yeah, and if you look right there, that's how they ranked in practice. And the difference between Bill Elliott and Mike Bliss, which based on practice would be the cutoff, it was 8 1/1000ths of a second difference between those 2 cars.
And Bill's got to really be worried because Tony would get the provisional, and if Bill doesn't pick up a little bit of speed, he could be in trouble here.
Yeah, that brand new car could be headed home. Now let's go to Dick Berggren live.
How about that? Well, when Tommy Baldwin lost his job as a crew chief as Bill Davis Racing closed its doors, he wasn't ready to quit, so he and his wife went to the bank and pulled out all of their life savings, and with it they bought trucks, trailers, engines, cars, and they are here trying to qualify for the race with their driver Scott Riggs. They made the first 2 shows. They didn't make it last week in Las Vegas, and Tommy told me moments ago that it is incredibly more nerve-wracking trying to get into these races than it was the day he stood on the toolbox at Daytona and won the Daytona 500 as a crew chief. They are the second quickest of the go-and-go-home cars. Krista?
Well, Dick, equally nerve-wracking for David Gilliland and the TRG team, but keep your eye on these guys. They are coming off of a top 15 finish. Gilliland was 14th last week in Las Vegas. They have tons of momentum and confidence. In fact, we just have 2 more races before the top 35 are locked in for 09, Atlanta and then Bristol. Right now, Gilliland and his TRG team with Slugger Labby, they sit just 2 points out of the top 35. They said they have mastered a streamlined and efficient business model in these tough times.
Yeah, Mike, I think you pointed out earlier in the day, the only 2 go or go homers to qualify for the first 3 races is A.J. Allmendinger and Tony Stewart.
4 cars to go home. The track record not in jeopardy. It's 197.5 miles per hour. But someone will win the pole beginning next. Otherwise, a bad hair day would have been exposed to America. Jimmie Johnson getting ready to qualify. He will go out second right after Kyle Busch. The sun has now dipped below the horizon. We're just about set to go for qualifying on Georgia Power Pole Night. Here is our subway track description of Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And there you see 24 degrees of banking in the corners, just a little over 1.5 miles in length. It's what we call a quad oval. You've actually got 3 short straightaways on the front stretch, and then of course you've got the back straightaway there that's 1,800 feet long.
You got more turns than you got straightaway here.
Oh yeah, you're in for a lot longer.
It's 1 mile of turns and 1/4 mile straightaways, basically.
And here's our first qualifier. Last week's winner, Kyle Busch, has now won 13, a lucky 13 Sprint Cup races. The last one coming in his hometown, and he's never won on the same track twice.
And you know, this is a tough time to qualify. You've been out there in the sun, bright sunlight all afternoon practicing. This track, your perception of this track is a little wee bit different when the sun goes down and the lights come out. And I used to have a really tough time from then. You can see he's having a tough time getting through those bumps. I used to have a tough time this first lap right here making those adjustments from daylight to dark or dusk.
His time in practice was a 30:58. This is 2 laps of qualifying, but Daryl and I were talking before the show. We anticipate, especially the top 35 guys, it'll be 1 lap and done, I think, for the most part. You just start losing so much grip.
Kyle has a top 10 start in every race so far in 2009, 29, 8.24. Not great. That's his assessment.
Pretty good lap, actually.
Picked up 7/10 from practice, which I think everybody's going to pick quite a bit up because the track has really cooled down from this afternoon.
I think Mark was, what, a 30-14 or something like that. 30-18, I think it was.
Yes.
Now that is faster than the pole speed last year.
Yeah. And you saw him wiggle down here in turn 1. That was not a perfect lap. And there may not, nobody may be able to run a perfect lap tonight, but you can see there's still some speed that to be gained if you get through those bumps a little better than he did.
Jimmie Johnson in Kobalt Tools entry from Hendrick Motorsports.
These guys were not really all that great in practice there. I think he ended up 14, 15, somewhere back in there, and never really had a fast, what I'd call a fast lap.
He really ran just a little quicker than Kyle Busch did in practice.
And you know, Larry, I was surprised. I think people came here thinking that the tires were going to be like they were last week. Apparently they're not, because these guys are talking about they're slipping and sliding a lot.
Tire may be. I don't think this old racetrack is. This old surface really is starting to deteriorate. It's about 12 years old. Boy, he snuck it in there at the last minute. Got a good run off turn 4. He beats Kyle Busch by 3/100ths. I think I heard him say it was bottoming out or dragging.
Yeah, you can see sparks flying. Looks like he thinks there's a little speed left in this car, but I'd be surprised.
You really have to, I think, flub up the first lap before you're going to run faster than the second one.
I think Larry, what he was seeing, if he got a little sideways down there in turn 1, like a lot like what Kyle Busch did.
Well, he only falls off 6/100ths, but the first lap is quicker. Here's Krista.
Casey Kane is buckling into his car. And Casey, after practice, what's the track like? Can you tell us a little bit? The guys are talking about the surface. We know there's not a lot of grip. What's your mentality to go out here for your qualifying lap?
Well, I think there'll be lots of grip, you know, tonight. Usually there is when we go to qualify here. So kind of looking forward to it. The Budweiser Dodge was the best it's been so far out of California and Vegas. It seemed like it was the best it's been so far today. So I'm happy with it. Hopefully we'll have a good shot at top 5 qualifying.
Keeping track of those intermediate tracks, and Casey has one here.
And he has a pole here and was 6th in practice. Here's the man who was 2nd in practice, Kevin Harvick.
His car is wiggling there too. It's just those bumps. They carry so much speed down into that first turn. When you hit those bumps down there, the same thing we saw last week in Vegas. The bumps are where the tunnel is, right near where the tunnel is, and you get a little bouncy there.
He looks like he's on a pole right now. He didn't get off turn 4. He got into 3 and through the middle of 3 and 4 good, but he lost it coming off turn 4.
He was a little tail happy coming off 4.
And it's not much of a difference. He's only 4 100ths off Jimmy Johnson and 1 100th off Kyle Busch.
Very tight qualifying, which we anticipated.
Enough. Coming up, Robbie Gordon, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards. Jim Beam Toyota, 31st in owner points, has his only Cup pole here in his 11th career start back in 1997.
That was the last time we raced on the old configuration, where it was a true oval, and the front stretch is where the back stretch is now, and in the middle of 1997 they reconfigured it to its current configuration.
Robbie was 16th in practice.
Looks like he's got it going pretty good here, guys.
We interviewed him in practice. He was actually pretty happy with his car. Had a good run at Las Vegas last week. He got 15th.
Got through there good, Larry. I tell you, he really swung the bottom. The thing was just real free, but he was able to stay in it.
30.02, and that's about 2/10, almost a quarter of a second off.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be better than that. I think he had a little better lap in that going. Looks like some of these guys, if they get through 1 and 2 pretty good, they lose it off 4 a little bit.
Exactly what happened to Kevin Harvick.
Tickets are available for Sunday's Kobalt Tools 500. The race is not a sellout, and if you've not been to the Speedway here in several years, a lot of improvements have been made to traffic and traffic flow, and the new Georgia Route 20, the Bruton Smith Parkway, goes over to I-75. That helps take a lot of the congestion off of Route 1941 out in front of the track. So come on out. We know you'll see a good race.
The biggest temporary improvement that's been made is what the weatherman has given us for this weekend. Great forecast all weekend long, low 70s, no chance of rain.
This is such a great track to watch a race on, because you can see the whole racetrack. There are no obstructions, not a bad seat in the house. You can see the back straightaway. It's always one of our favorite tracks to come to watch a race on.
It's looking like one of Greg Biffle's favorite tracks right now. His 3M Ford sits 4th in the point standings. He led 40 laps in Las Vegas. Can he hang on to it? Whoa!
Got that little tail happy off before, but
he may have still squeezed it in there, though.
I don't think he let off.
There you go, 2977 P1.
Thank goodness the start-finish line is where it is, because he was running out of track.
That takes
real good segments down here. Just a little bit off coming to the green, but as good or better than any on your money lap.
That takes the pole away from Jimmy Johnson by 2 100ths. Dick?
Well, Jimmy Johnson has been 1st or 2nd in 4 of his last 5 starts here. An incredible record at this place. What's the track like? Has it changed over the last year or two? Is it pretty much the same?
Really since this car was introduced here, it's just been a handful, and we've had some good finishes to show for it, but we don't have the car that we wanted to, and we've worked very hard. We made some great improvements from qualifying practice to now, so I think we're on the right path and going the right way. The guy that's on track now has been the one that's had this place figured out here, in my opinion, the last couple times, but we're working hard, and it's a track that I love. You can really race anywhere. It's rough, it's old, things that usually help this 48 car and myself out. Hopefully we get our stuff dialed in and we can get the job done.
So many drivers love this place.
I don't know if Carl Edwards is going to be very much in love with this qualifying run.
You know what he did? I think he really backed off early, which sometimes is good for this car, but he'll avoid those bumps in turn 1. He's the only car that's gone through there pretty smoothly, but he wasn't going quite as fast.
That worked pretty well for some drivers late in the qualifying session at Las Vegas, but maybe not so well here.
He's going to go ahead, I believe, and run this second lap, because his first lap was a 30-15, but he shut her down and coming off to
Carl Edwards is last of the 6 drivers who have run so far. That's a surprise. Bobby Labonte and Kasey Kahne coming up.
It's the perfect storm of danger and...
Welcome back to Atlanta, where Greg Biffle is fastest, and Bobby Labonte, who won 5 of the first 12 races after this track was reconfigured, is on track in the Ask.com 4. Let's check with Krista.
Mark Martin was fastest in today's practice. So the question of the night, Mark, will you be fastest at night's end?
Well, I don't know. By the end of practice, several cars caught up with us. I think it'll really come down to if I get a spectacular lap. This car's fast, wasn't very comfortable. We didn't manage to get the comfort, but it was pretty fast. So, you know, it's pretty easy to slip up and miss your mark a little bit or miss hooking that bottom or whatever. So we'll have to wait and see. The car's fast, and we're looking forward to going racing this weekend.
Go get that spectacular lap, okay?
Thanks, Krista. Bobby Labonte has 2 poles here, but this will not be a stellar effort. 7th of 7.
Car sounded kind of flat up here. I don't know. It didn't look like he was running as fast as he'd like for it to, obviously.
Yeah, they kind of struggled in practice, Darrell. We got 47 cars here. He was only 37th quickest.
He's getting out of the gas a lot. Not really carrying a lot of speed into the corner.
I think a lot of times when your car's right here on a qualifying lap, especially getting into 3, you'll almost take it down to the white line before you roll out of the throttle.
And that second lap about 12/100 slower.
Huge bounce. Terrible down there in 3 and 4.
Here's Dick.
With the fastest man in Georgia, at least so far, you were one of the tire testers. How much did that help you?
Well, I don't think it helped us much. If you saw how bad we were when we unloaded this thing, 3 and 4 Fusion, but you know, we're getting better and better and better. And I was a little nervous there qualifying, still shaking a little bit because the car's been so tight, and then, you know, it was so loose right there. I had a hard time with it, but you can see how the track's picking up a lot of speed. These guys are going to go real fast tonight.
All right, thank you.
I believe this is a guy getting ready to take the green here that's going to go pretty fast. 6th fastest in practice. Said he was pretty happy with his car. Wouldn't surprise me to see him lay one down here.
They've had 23 races since the track was reconfigured into a quad oval, and only once has it been won from the pole. Kasey Kahne did it.
Looks pretty solid about halfway through this lap. You can see the tracker right there. Looking pretty good so far.
Got a little loose. I think he lost a little time getting into 3 right there. As a matter of fact, lost quite a bit of time.
And that just kills the whole corner.
He got 1 and 2 nailed. They did that better than anybody, but he lost all his time in 3 and 4.
So Kahne will be 5th with a 29.89, 185.5 miles an hour.
I really thought he was going to. I thought he had a shot at the pole, and he did until the car got loose getting into 3, and he could never get it back.
He might be quicker on this lap.
Skosh.
Better getting in.
It's looking like he may. Well,
He's having just getting a little
it's
bit.
probably going to be pretty close to about the same time.
1/100th of a second,
yeah.
exactly. So Kasey is 5 of 8.
Greg Biffle may end up getting surprised that lap may end up being a pretty decent lap for him. It really might.
Well, you saw Biffle when that car got loose. He drove through it instead of adjusting to it.
I think somebody unexpected is going to win the pole.
It hasn't looked to it.
Somebody that we hadn't counted on. Somebody like David Stremme or McMurray, or
which McMurray was pretty quick in practice.
Somebody that we don't normally think about winning a pole.
Montoya's really fast here, and he was good in practice.
And he likes this joint from the first time he came here.
Sam Hornish. Finished 16th in Las Vegas. This will be his 40th career Cup start this weekend.
He was 27th quickest in practice, but that was a good solid run all day long for him in Las Vegas. He qualified well and kept it in about the top 15 to 18 all day.
Well, like we've said from the beginning of this year, This is kind of a make or break year for this guy, I think. I think Sam's going to have to, he's got the laps around these racetracks now, and it's time for him to kind of take advantage of what he's learned.
30-25 on the first lap. That's 8th of 9.
And his teammates are all running good. So, you know, it's not like he doesn't have the equipment to do it with. I think it's Penske overall is better.
It's almost like they can almost improve their first lap till they get to turn 4. It just won't take it.
That's right. Coming up, Elliott Sadler, Jeff Gordon, and Mark Martin. In the best spot, our next qualifier, 7 Cup poles, and he had an outside pole here in this race 2 years ago.
Elliott was decent in practice, 18th quickest. This 19 car, it's a brand new race car they broke out here this weekend.
Oh, he's going to go above all those bumps. See how that works out.
Not a bad idea.
Well, hasn't hurt him so far.
Kind of lets you keep it wound up and really helps the speed down the back straightaway.
Car really stuck nicely in that second groove. If he can get off of 4 here, he's got a pretty nice lap going. Car looks pretty stable, not fighting the wheel. Yeah, he's lost a little time off the 4, but not a bad run.
29.91 for Sadler. He is 6th of 10.
Just 2 100s behind his teammate Casey Kane.
Krista?
Well, Mike, you guys were pontificating about who might be a pole sitter tonight. Let's fill Jamie McMurray in. The guys think you're going to be good. Do you agree with them, Jamie? Is this going to be a pole car?
I think it's going to be close. We unloaded really fast in race trim, and then we made a couple of qualifying runs, and we were just kind of so-so, but the track seems to be pretty quick, and right now Greg's fastest, so I think we were a little bit better than him, so we'll just have to wait and see. Our Irwin car was pretty good, so it's kind of hold your breath here. I don't know if it's the tire that we've got. I thought it was going to have a lot more grip, but it's been a struggle for most of the guys so far.
Thanks, Jamie.
There's no way we were doing that about who would sit on the pole, at least not me, because I have no idea what it means.
Well, only the Pope can pontificate. But anyway, look at Jeff Gordon's car waddle its way through there.
He didn't pontificate. He pogoed. About pogoed out of here.
He was 11th quickest in practice. Of course, Atlanta Motor Speedway is where it all started in Sprint Cup for Jeff Gordon in the fall race of 1992.
7th at a 29.92, and the result was a lot better than that lap looked.
If he'd have gotten anything at all out of turn 1, he could have been a contender. But turn 1 threw him a curve.
Right now we got a 29.77 on the pole. Jeff Gordon is 7th at a 29.92.
That was a National Guard Youth Challenge. If you couldn't read it on the hood, I'm sure we'll see more of that.
I tell you what's hard to discern, to pick out between his car and Jimmy Johnson's this weekend.
Very similar.
Both got the same color numbers and similar paint jobs.
Mark Martin, fast in practice, but he put that lap up very early in the practice session.
You know, Mark has had a fast race car, good race car all year long. He was fastest in practice at Las Vegas last week before qualifying. Qualified good. See a little spark coming out of it, driving off into turn 1. But this team has had 2 consecutive engine failures. Auto Club Speedway in Las Vegas.
That's as good as I've seen through there. The car did wiggle around a little bit, but he was after it. He wasn't chasing the car. It was right in the groove. It just bounced a little bit. I think this is going to have pole written all over it.
Mark looking for his 29th top 10 start here in Atlanta. Top of the heap, 29.64.
Yeah, that's a great lap.
Good lap.
His car got through 1 and 2 better than anybody.
I did a 58.
That's a crew chief's watch.
Sorry, man.
It's a 64.
I went on the floor, getting off a 4. Man, maybe would have hit that wall.
Listen to how much out of breath he was after that qualifying.
That's what I said in the opening, Larry. This is a breathtaking lap around this joint. You're running 187 miles an hour average. You got to be doing 2.0 something. 2.0 no, I think, going in either one of these turns. But
But Darryl, what I noticed, he really played 3 and 4 smart. He didn't underdrive the entrance, but he didn't overdrive the guy.
He did such a great job in turn 1 1 and 2. Their car didn't bottom out, and it didn't move around a lot.
Jeff Burton, strong third-place finish in Vegas, where he led 61 laps, qualified 14th there last week. Not a great qualifying record here. He has one top 5 start earned through time trials.
But Mike, it just indicates what we've said about this 31 car for over a year now. He qualified pretty good at Vegas. And where did he finish?
Very good.
Very good. And I think that's the thing that's been the Achilles heel for this group. They're usually back in the 30s. When he qualifies good, he finishes well.
Right now, Jeff Burton is 8th of 13. Casey Mears, Michael Waltrip next. Here's our next qualifier. Here's Krista.
David Stremme turned a lot of laps in practice. Did you find what you needed for this pole run?
Well, as a driver, I had to really find myself in the car. I didn't get to run here last year at Atlanta. And the first part of practice, I had to get acclimated with the car. But the guys have done a really good job at the Penske shop. They turned this car around from Vegas, and I was really happy with it out there. So we'll see what we can do here. We didn't get the result we wanted out there, but today it's been up and down, and I think we can have a shot at the pole. We'll just see. That 5's been tough all day.
Casey Mears has 12 starts here, 2 of them in the top 10.
Don't think it's going to be a top 10 start tonight.
Really moving around a lot, particularly down to 1 and 2. He just couldn't get to the bottom, and when he did, the car was sideways. So the car looks really loose.
He's 11th after his first lap at a 30-13. Yellow chiclet there indicates where he's at on his first lap, so you can see he's a little bit behind that lap, as we've pretty much seen with everybody that went ahead and tried to run. You can see how loose he got off turn 4 there.
And that second lap will be just 2 100ths slower, but Mears will stand 11th. Dick Berggren with a man whose last pole was 256 races ago.
Yeah, but the next pole may well be tonight for Mark Martin. A solid lap, absolutely solid. How close to the wall did you come, though?
Well, I don't know, but I ran out of talent, that's for sure. I'm still shaking, so I don't know how good I can talk on this interview. But, yeah, I ran out of talent from the center off of 4 there. There's no way I could leave my foot on the floor and bring it back. So awfully proud to be driving for CarQuest and Kellogg's and these guys. We don't have anything to show for what the effort put in, really, but we've had some fast race cars, and we're going to keep getting faster. And Alan is doing a real good job of second guessing me, and I think the more he learns how to second guess me, the better we're going to do. Because if we'd have left it the way I wanted to, we would have been worried. You know, I definitely would have hit the wall coming off of 4. So I think that experience is going to just keep building for us as we go forward.
Great job tonight. Congratulations on a terrific run.
There's Michael Waltrip, who's going to be 11th quickest in the Napa Toyota. Michael's first race here was 1985 for Dick Bear.
A lot of bottoming out on that car, Darrell, especially in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and looked like from the rear, almost like like the track bar.
I didn't do you a very good job.
Maybe the trailing arm mounts or the track bar, something in the back of that car looked like it was bottoming out.
Well, here's Krista with the one fellow who could surprise us for the pole.
Juan Montoya loves this track. I remember your first Cup start here, top 5 finish. Do you still love this track the way you did back then?
Yeah, I love it. It's a great track. It's a great track for racing. And, you know, I think the Target show has been so good the last few weeks. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Thanks, Juan.
Now, Juan can do an interview, can he? I mean, he just gets right to the point.
It's a man in a hurry.
Here's what it is. Now I got to go now.
Marcus Ambrose qualified 5th at Las Vegas. He is 20th in the standings with finishes of 17th, 22nd, and 20th.
He was well in the top 10 in practice, but I don't think this run is going to support it.
It's one of those runs where, you know, you want to roll it in there sometime and get out early, but he didn't get back in it quick enough. The problem. He got out early, but he didn't get back to the gas quick enough.
Which is what Mark Martin did a really good job at.
Exactly.
14th out of the 16 cars is qualified.
30-25 for Ambrose. Coming up, Paul Menard, Jamie McMurray, and Scott Speed. Coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying is presented by Subway, home of the famous, always made fresh $5 footlong. Subway, eat fresh. Paul Menard finished 35th last week after a late race accident. Scored his first top 10 in the Sprint Cup Series here in his first race, 2006.
Felt bad for him in Las Vegas. He was doing everything right. He was still on the lead lap, had a great run going in less than 20 laps to go. You know, got caught up in that wreck.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. That car was pretty good almost all day.
Tonight, not so great.
Not
30-37, and that's going to anchor the field. 17th of 17 right now. So they'll try to pick it up.
Looks like he's going to have to try to run though. Now you can hear him playing with the throttle. Just can't get back to the gas. Thing is really loose. I don't think I've ever seen these guys so many cars so loose, sliding around.
Well, got a nice pickup out of it, though, Darrell. 30-24. He picked up 1300ths, and that moves him up to 14th.
You know, Mike, this is one of the cars that's going to have to get in gear between here and Bristol. They're outside the top 35 in owner points right now.
There is one driver here tonight who hopes to set a record. He's with Kristen.
And that would be the most poles. I believe there was a stretch there where you didn't let anyone, Ryan Newman, sit on the pole. What was it, 6 in a row, I believe? Can you do it tonight, back up there?
I'm not going to say we can't, but this Haas Automation Chevrolet struggled a little bit in practice, and I think we were 17th at the end. So we'll see what we have. I know that I know where to hit my marks. I just hope that it sticks when I do. So I'll try to see what I can do.
All right, best average start of all drivers at Atlanta.
Somewhere, Buddy Baker is nervous. Buddy holds the record with Ryan for most career poles here at Atlanta.
But, you know, Buddy was such a great coach for Ryan when he came up. Buddy spotted for him and really tutored Ryan, and I'm sure that made a big difference. This car looks like it's getting a little evil as it enters the third turn there.
But it looks like a good run. We talked about he's going to be second quickest, though.
You can't be unhappy with that.
No.
As much as the car was out of shape.
Oh, yeah.
How much more could he have driven it, Darrell?
But what he did is he drove it into 3, and the thing just kind of...
I just didn't. It stuck better than I thought it was going to, and I got on the splitter too hard, 1 and 2, so I kind of baby 3. And
I think he did a great job.
Yeah, but
he's second.
Drivers are never happy, you know.
Okay.
If you're not on the pole, you're not happy.
Maybe we can put him on Bull Run. Thursday, an intense rivalry. Disaster strikes when teams push the limits of speed and strategy. Too far, too fast. Bull Run with Bill Goldberg. All new episode Thursday night at 10. From Bull Run to Scott Speed.
Scott Speed on the Speed Channel.
Did we mention he's met Lake Speed? I think, yeah, we told the story last week.
Yeah, that's one of his
Which
heroes.
is pretty cool.
One of his heroes.
And not just because they share the same name.
You know, that was interesting. It's almost like he got in the throttle early. The car took it, but then late exit, he had to roll out, and it hurt him all the way down the back straightaway.
Road racer, Larry. Easy in, fast out.
Right now, he's going to be, looks like 14th quickest at a 30-13.
They're 37th in owner points, just 6 points out of the top 35. So a good finish here could be a big help to this rookie.
I wonder if he's ever seen Bristol. Oh, he did. That's right. He sat on pole in the truck race.
Right.
Come to think of it. So he does know what he's getting himself into in a week or two.
A 30-13 and a 30-40 adds up to 14th for Scott Speed. Dick?
Well, let's see, JD. Mark Martin is quickest, and he didn't think he did the best of the job. Said he ran out of talent. You're second quick. You didn't like the job you did. What's with you two fast guys?
Well, the track just gained so much grip. When we made our qualifying, our mock-up runs in practice, it was almost undrivable. And when I came to get the green, it just had a lot more grip than I was expecting. And then I felt like the car got on the splitter real hard 1 and 2. So when you feel that, you want to keep driving hard, but you have to kind of back your corner up a little bit. So car had a little more speed in it than what I gave it, but that's good for Irwin Industrial Tools and Crown Royal. We starting up front here, man, starting up front anywhere makes you feel good.
You bet. And the crew liked the job you did too. Yeah, they did.
It was quite a lap. Here's Dale Earnhardt Jr. Started second, finished third in this race last year.
I just hope that car feels better than it looks getting off into turn one. Well, that thing was really doing a lot of bouncing.
He's definitely paying the price in 3 and 4 right now. He was on a pretty decent run to turn 3. He's going to end up 12th quickest at a 30.04.
This will be his 100th career Cup race on a 1.5 mile track. 3 wins and 43 out of 100 top 10s.
He's running his second lap, but obviously, as you can see by the tracker, to no avail. They had their hands full with this race car when practice started. I don't even know if he could hardly even make a lap. They made some major adjustments. Got it decent in practice.
Oh, car falls off half a second on lap 2.
It's real tight. Same thing we had in that run in practice, where in the center of 3 and 4, it just started laying on the racetrack, drove up the racetrack.
Darrell, it's almost like these tracks that are real bumpy, it's with being on the bump stop, trying to get that splitter just against the racetrack. We heard it last week at Las Vegas. We're hearing some of the same things here this week.
Yeah. When that thing is riding on that bump stop, it's solid. So when it hits a bump, it has no, the tires only give, it's there. When a tire lets go, when the thing just breaks traction, then the way the car goes. You're basically relying on the tire to get you around the racetrack.
David Stremme on the clock. He qualified 11th at Las Vegas. He has 5 starts in the Nationwide Series here. Here's Krista.
From one David on the track to another David getting ready to climb in his car. David Ruderman, a great finish last week in Las Vegas. Do you roll with some momentum here into Atlanta for this qualifying run?
Yeah, I think we have a little bit of momentum. I mean, momentum's a tricky thing. It's hard to keep, and it's even harder to get. But my guys been doing a great job. We've been struggling a little bit today back and forth with what we got going on here. Not really sure how she's going to qualify, but I know Rodney Children and the guys will work on it and get us a good air and stream machine for the race, and we'll just go out and see if we can get post a good lap for ourselves.
Thanks, David.
David Stremme, meanwhile, 16th on his first lap, 30.14.
I'd say Roy McCauley and David Stremme will not be happy with that because they were actually 4th in practice.
Yeah, this car I thought might be a surprise, but he can't get to the bottom. As you can see, he is way up the racetrack. I think if he runs a couple more laps, he'll be all the way up against the wall.
Stremme ran Cup here in 07 and started 7th in both races. 16th. Oh, there's Andy Jeffers. Helps out with our onboard cameras, and he's our stage manager for our NASCAR on Fox telecasts.
And needs a pair of goggles. That's what. Yeah, he needs goggles.
Picking up where his dad left off. His dad, Lynn Jeffers, performed the same task for the TV networks for quite a few years.
He's not showing quite the excitement that the girl did at the Auto Club Speedway to start the race.
And he's not as good looking as Angie Harmon either.
Good point. Good point.
Juan Pablo Montoya is our next qualifier, and this could be a pleasant surprise right here.
This will be a big bullet that Mark Martin's going to have to dodge.
I think if he can get the car to stick for him on the, he seems to always like to run up the track too much to really have a fast time. See, he's up the hill there. I just don't think that's going to work. He might prove me wrong.
That's loose there.
That's just a long way to go.
Traveling a lot longer distance.
It's a longer distance when you're trying to qualify.
Look at the run he got off turn 2.
Yeah, he did get a nice run down the back straightaway. Like I said, he could prove us wrong, or prove me wrong.
I just don't think he got off turn 4 very good.
Well, third at a 29.77 is pretty good.
Very good.
So third for Montoya and an attaboy for our boy, Andy Jeffers. How about that? John Andretti next. Tomorrow with Raymond Parks, one of NASCAR's pioneer car owners, as John Andretti takes to the track in the window world number 34.
You know, John is just a kind of one of those versatile kind of drivers. He's done a little drag racing. He's done a little IndyCar racing. You know, he's had some time here in NASCAR in the Cup Series.
He won a pole here in 1998, driving for Richard Petty.
You know, this team was locked in the top 35 is right now, and if they can just have a couple of decent runs, they can stay there. Right now, they're 30th in the owner points.
And that's the other thing about John. He's always been real consistent. You don't hear a lot about him maybe in the race, but he gets a decent finish and keeps himself out of trouble.
30-35, and that is 23rd right now. Here's Kristen.
Home track for the sponsor and home track for the driver. That doesn't add any extra pressure, does it, Joey Logano?
No, of course not. I got enough pressure as it is, so heck with that. So, no, I think we got to go to Home Depot Toyota. You know, it just took me a long time in practice here to get used to the track. These cars just slide around a lot with this tire and the old asphalt, so it took me a while to get used to it. By the time I got used to it, we were behind the 8 ball and working with the car. So, you know, it's kind of like a home track for me, a secondary home track, I guess. So, you know, hopefully get out there and have a good run.
All right, have fun. Dick Berggren?
With Juan Pablo Montoya, third quick right now. Liable to have his best start ever for a Sprint Cup race here at Atlanta. Happy with your run?
In a way, we're happy because the last couple of weeks, you know, we've been so fast with this target Chevy in practice and get to qualifying and we struggle because it's too tight. And, you know, guess what? We're still a little too tight. We made a lot of improvements. You know, we're a little more aggressive than the last couple of weeks, but I don't know. I knew the car, you know, the car had the pace to be on pole. And as we're coming out of 4, I started putting the power and front start washing. And I was like, you know, I was half throttle when everybody's being wide open. It doesn't help. But I'll tell you, it's great to see the progress that everybody on Earnhardt Ganassi have done over the winter.
This is one of his best tracks. We look forward to watching you race on Sunday.
Here's the Rocket, Ryan Newman. And it looks like a pole is not in the cards for Newman, but it looks like he may end up better than he practiced.
Maybe in the top 10, he was 17th quickest. And right now, he's going to be 8th quickest at a 29.87.
Yep, not a pole run, but not a bad run either. That's a good improvement on that car.
7 poles in the 11 races he's been here where they have had time trials. He's not started any of those worse than 12.
These guys, it looked like last week at Las Vegas, they were going to have a solid run that was going to be uneventful, and then they had some loose lug nuts late in the race.
Clint Boyer on track for BB&T. And here's Kristen.
Mike, I'm talking to all the local guys down here. Went from Joey Logano, a hometown kid, to David Reagan, your hometown about 90 miles away. So how are you going to be tonight?
Man, I don't know. I'm not good at predictions, and our UPS Ford, it was a handful in practice. We made a lot of changes, and it's either going to be really good or really bad. And we're always good on Sunday, but it's fun to go fast here in Atlanta. So it should be fun. You know, the lights are on. It's not raining. It's not cold. So those are some good things. But our UPS Ford, it'll be fine on Sunday. But I don't know how qualifying's going to go.
Talks like a young man who's been here a lot.
This car's been doing some talking. I'll tell you, my gosh.
He's got his hands full. He's if we had an in-car camera, that thing just is all over the place.
Man, it finished second last week to Kyle Busch at Las Vegas. Clint Boyer, 15th quickest after his first lap. Comes in here second in the points.
You got to give his old crew chief a little credit, Les. That was a good call that he made, Shane Wilson, to keep him out there. Shane Wilson, Las Vegas native, he kind of likes gambling, and it paid off for him last week.
Boyer's looking for his first top 20 start of the season, and right now he is 15th. Eric Almirola, Brian Vickers, Martin Truex coming up. Mark Martin is quickest. Kyle Busch was the dominator in Southern California. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is here in Atlanta, where things always get a little rowdy. Racing the way it ought to be, live tomorrow and only on Speed. Eric Almirola, new sponsor, Cub Cadet.
Pretty
lawn
car.
Tractors.
I like that paint job. That yellow on that car is really pretty, and that silver roof, very pretty.
Eric was 18th quickest in practice, but seems to be struggling through this qualifying run.
He has 1 nationwide race and 2 truck series starts here.
he cut it clean.
Yeah.
He may have gotten the clutch in just a little sooner than he got the kill switch.
30-30 for Almirola. That's 24th.
Slammed the splitter real bad. Real bad.
His teammate Martin Truex rolls out, started this race from the second row last year.
Wiggling that car back and forth down the back straightaway, just trying to knock that little bit of shininess off the new tires. But I don't know if you want to take any newness off these tires here.
No, I don't either, Larry. And the only other thing could be doing is maybe just trying to build a little heat in them, maybe coming to get the green. I think sometimes drivers just do that. It's driver comfort.
Martin's 20th quickest in that hour-and-a-half practice we had earlier this afternoon. Got a lot of questions about what in the world happened to that car last week at Las Vegas with the left rear axle hanging out. Talked to Kevin Mannion, the crew chief. Looks like right now he's going to end up 16th quickest. And that hubcap, like we explained on the broadcast, it has 3 little bolts that holds that hubcap on, that holds the axle in. And those bolts were just not tightened prior to the race and just fell off.
I had a guy ask me how come the wheel didn't come off. He said the axle came out. How come the whole wheel didn't come off? You know, I said, well, the axle goes through the hub into the rear end housing, and there's a little cap that holds it in place. So hopefully he understood what I was talking about.
Looks like Andy Jeffers he's left the premises as far as the flag stand.
Yeah. 30-11 for Truex, 16th. Krista?
Mike, Bill Elliott doesn't go out until 37th, yet you've been one of the guys who's been out here the longest. You have a lot of people to talk to when you come back to this track, don't you?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a good thing, being hometown crowd, but, you know, our motocross Fords, we've got a little bit of work to do on her tonight, and hopefully we can get something going here in qualifying. But, man, it's tough. You know, you set out a couple of races. You know, it seems like a race will put you light years behind in this business, but, you know, we're giving our best shot. You know, Hyder and all the guys have really worked hard and got a great, you know, a great car here, but we just got a little fine-tuning to do before we get probably for Sunday afternoon.
So much history for this driver and this Wood Brothers team.
Thanks, Krista. Reed Sorensen in another car that has a great history here, the Petty 43. And Reed, an Atlanta native. He was the 2001 Legends Car champion here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Made his first Cup start here 4 years later at the age of 19.
And there's a little quarter-mile track that includes part of the front stretch right about the start-finish line. When I look at Reed Sorensen, we talked to Joey Logano and David Reagan, there's no telling how many laps, how many feature wins, and how many championships those 3 guys won on that quarter-mile.
You know who's the champion of the Legends division? Or the Masters division in the Legends cars? Speedway president Ed Clark.
Oh, okay. He has been racing. I think he's been running 2 different divisions. I think he's been running the Legends and the Thunder Roadster.
I don't know how it is tall.
Yes.
He's about 6'4", I'd say. Maybe 6'5". I don't know how he gets in a Legends car.
You're right, Larry. Thunder Roadsters.
Yeah.
The Masters division of Thunder 600 Racing's Thunder Roadsters is what he's done. Now Reed Sorensen is 22nd at a 30-17. David Rudiman and Matt Kenseth next.
The year
for Sunday's Kobalt Tools 500. There's the number to call. Toll free 877-9-AMS-TIX. And get your seats.
Now, when I was thinking of long shots that might have a chance to win the pole, this guy just hit the racetrack. He sat on the pole here. Not on the, but he ain't going to do it like that. Sorry about that, buddy. He sat on the pole here a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago in our truck, and thought he'd have a shot, but that thing bottomed out too hard there. Shot him up the hill.
Qualified 4th in Las Vegas.
He's actually had 2 consecutive top 10 qualifying efforts at Fontana. Boy, it's not going to happen tonight, though, at all.
He won't give up.
13th quickest.
He breaks 30 seconds, 29.98.
And you just think, 29.98, and he is all over up the hill, hit the bottom out, getting into 1, all the way up the top of the track, slideways off of 4. Not a bad run, buddy.
Well, that's only about 3/10 off what, 3.5 tenths off what Mark Martin ran. And he's quickest. So Brian Vickers will be next. He's had a top 10 finish the last 2 races. And Vickers has, what, 3 starts in the first 3 rows here.
And I'd say this will be a car that Mark Martin and his crew chief Alan Gustafson, that they'll have a stopwatch on because he was 3rd quickest. And Brian is just a qualifying little animal at a 1.5 and 2 mile racetrack.
A little smoke coming out of the right rear there. It could be a little water blowing out of the overflow, or he got in there a little high. Could just be a little dust. I don't think there's any problem. We got her in there. Sounded good. Riding the bottom pretty nice.
This doesn't look like the speed is exactly there, though.
No.
His teammate Scott Speed ran a 30:13. And this is going to be pretty close to that.
You can just say he really had to play with the throttle on the exit of the corner.
To be fast, you got to get it wide open immediately. You can't play with the gas like he was doing.
Had a good pickup coming up off 4, 29.97. 13th for Vickers.
We've got 14 cars in the 29s. That just goes to show you how much better the track is. And this afternoon, we didn't have anybody even close to the 29s.
Well, Mark was a 30:18, I think. Just can't get her back wide open. To be fast, when you get it into 3, you got to mat it. And you got to hold it wide open all the way off that corner. Off turn 4.
Because if you don't, that loss of speed carries all the way down that straightaway. It's like a drag strip.
30:07 on the second lap. Slower by a 10th. Krista.
Well, Tony Stewart is very good at this track. Unfortunately, finished 2nd the last 2 spring races. So can you put this thing on the pole and finish 1 better this year?
Well, the good thing is because we're a go home car, we get to go late, so that'll help. But I was a little bit off in practice, so I have to pick it up for qualifying here. But really happy we got our Office Depot Old Spice cars good. Darian and the guys are doing a great job, so I just got to go do my part now.
And right now, 8th in points. Things are very good for this team.
Matt Kenseth has had the most incredible season in 2 different ways. Winning the Daytona 500, winning the first 2 races. And then last week on the 6th lap of the race, it all came undone. And his day was done. He was the first, from being first to finish, he was first car out.
And we had that shot of that tractor and trailer leaving about the halfway point of the race. Of course, you look at the 2 races he won, that was absolutely the last tractor and trailer to leave the racetrack after post-race inspection.
Boy, he just could not get the thing. Playing with the throttle, just couldn't get it back to the, couldn't get it wide open.
He's back there in Matt Kenseth qualifying land right now.
If he qualifies 25th, I'd say watch out.
24th.
The last 3 times he started back in that range here, he finished top 5. Not a problem. Logano on track now. The other rookie contender, Scott Speed, qualified 21st at a 30:13. Let's see what Joey can do here.
Well, these Gibbs cars have always run good at Atlanta. When Bobby Labonte was teammates with Tony Stewart, that's when he won all these races here. He was in the Gibbs cars. Tony's won in the car. He's pretty sporty.
Right now, his teammate Kyle Busch is 6th. Now, Joey was going to race the fall race here last year, but qualifying was rained out. The car he was in did not have enough points and attempts, so he did not get to race in the fall of last year. It looks like right now it's going to be about the slowest of our 32 cars that's qualified, and that's where he's at a 30:47.
Oh, that's 8/10 off of Mark Martin's lap. 8/10 of a second. Might pick up a little here. Now, Darrell, you're coming to a racetrack that's, I mean, all these racetracks are fairly new, if not brand new to Logano. You practiced all in the daytime. Now you're coming out to qualify at night. Yeah, that's got to be different.
Well, it's part of the learning curve that he's going through. You know, he's trying to get comfortable in the car. He's trying to learn the race. He's got so much on his plate when he shows up at a racetrack. He's got the pressure of driving the 20 car, first of all, and then he doesn't know the track and he doesn't know what the car's supposed to feel. There's so many unknowns when he straps in a race car. And then he goes out and qualifies at night under the lights.
I think the biggest thing we don't stress enough, he's 18 years old.
That's right. Krista?
AJ Allmendinger always gives us a lot of emotion when we talk to him. So can you put into words what qualifying at this racetrack feels like for the people at home?
I don't like it. It's I figured out I've only actually had to qualify once here because twice it's rained and I was taken out of the first race last year. So it's not a lot of fun around this place. It changes so much. You know, most tracks when it kind of gets cooler out, you think it gets faster, but with this place, it seems like the kind of the dew in the air makes the track slick. So we were okay in practice. The Charter Dodge was top 10, but you never know what you're going to get when you got there for qualifying. So we'll just drop the hammer and we'll see.
All right, go drop the hammer, AJ.
And see, I think that's something else what AJ just hit on for a guy who hadn't been here very often. This racetrack gets a little bit slick. I don't know why. When the sun goes down, the thing cools off. It's like it doesn't pick up grip. It actually picks up a little bit of a moisture, almost like that a feeling that it has.
I think the optimum time to really go here would be about mid-pack. You know, the sun's down, but we hadn't been in the night air for a long time.
Well, it's so much difference between the temperature day, pretty close to 70, and it drops down to 45 or 50. And the track, I really think it almost picks up a lot of moisture.
David Reagan's first lap, 30:31, 30th fastest. And the second lap's going to be right on top of that. You know, 2/100ths difference.
A lot of these guys that's run the second lap, they hadn't been faster, but they hadn't slowed down but a little bit.
Krista?
Well, when you have Golden Corral on your car, you're always hungry. But you guys, Travis Kvapil, are very hungry. Didn't make the race last week. How is this run going to be tonight?
Yeah, we're definitely excited to get back at the track. That's a big letdown when you don't make the race. And we got Golden Corral colors on the car tonight, so we need to have a good run tonight and hopefully a good run on Sunday. So definitely hungry. We gotta drive hard right now. Feel like the car's okay. Just don't really know, you know, how much the track's picked up, how hard I can really drive it. So feel it out, come into the green, and go hard.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, Krista. Two more cars, and then we move into knockout qualifying. Here's a driver who we thought would be a threat for the pole based on practice speeds, Kurt Busch.
I was going to say this is another one to pull your stopwatch out on, but there's a lot of work to do as he's about halfway down the back straightaway.
You're going to pick up quite a bit of speed down that back straightaway when you run that high line, but you're going to lose a lot of time. You're going to pick up speed, but you're going to lose time, and he's up high even in 3 and 4. He just either doesn't want to be on the bottom or he can't get the car to the bottom.
It's going to be a good run, though.
What a
How
pickup.
about second quickest for Kurt Busch?
29.74, just 1/10 off of Mark Martin.
He doesn't want to be on the bottom.
Kurt, P2, good job, man.
Good job, Pat Tryson.
Yeah.
Telling him that's enough.
This thing's out of control. Real loose.
I don't think he necessarily wanted it to be where it was, but he got a good lap out there.
Well, he got a good launch off turn 4, and that brought him from, what, 5th up to 2nd?
Well, you get a good run down both straightaways when you're up high like that. It just loses a little bit of time, but he capitalized on it by picking up speed.
I just believe these Penske cars, they're starting to reap the reward of this new engine that they're running.
I think so. I'll tell you who else thinks so, too. Casey Kane and Elliott Sadler.
Who's not running.
Don't have it. Yeah.
Pat Tryson looks pretty happy.
Kurt Busch's crew. Denny Hamlin will be the final qualifier of those drivers who are locked into the top 35 in the FedEx Ground Toyota. His best qualifying effort here, 7th. He finished 3rd in the fall race here last year.
He's had some great runs here, but he's had all kinds of problems. We had the fuel pickup problem a couple of years ago on a restart. It's just like it wasn't meant to be, but that car really bottoming out. Didn't seem to hurt the tracker a lot, but it was throwing a lot of sparks.
It's a solid run.
Now, see how he's back wide open in the throttle early? That's how you really make time off turn 4. If you can get back in that gas, hold it wide open, pick up.
I'd say considering they were 29th in practice, they're going to be pretty happy with being 6th right now.
Good job, dude.
Well, you have Montoya 4th at a 29.77, Biffle at a 77. Here's Hamlin at a 78, and then Jimmy Johnson at a 79.
Oh boy, here we go now.
12 cars, 8 will qualify. Knockout qualifying begins right here with Scott Riggs, the Red Bank Outfitters Toyota for Tommy Baldwin Racing.
Yeah, see, this is a situation I wouldn't want to be in, because you don't want to go out there and take yourself out of the race by messing up. But there's no way to run an easy lap around here qualifying. You've got to just pretty well hang it out and hope for the best.
And Scott Riggs is good at that.
Oh, yeah.
He lets it all hang out.
And he was second quickest of the go homers. A.J. Allmendinger was the quickest.
Oh, look at though. That car had no speed coming to the green.
And when you know the money lap is on lap 1, Darrell and I talked a lot about this. You've got to get through turn 3 and 4 good coming to take the green.
Not sure what happened to him.
Riggs was good in practice, but this car just doesn't have any speed.
Sure doesn't look like it. He hadn't picked up any.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to like this. Missed their first race of the season last week at Las Vegas, and right now he's the slowest at 36th, which is immaterial right now. All he's worried about is these other guys, but I don't think that's going to fare too well.
That's a 61, and that's
based on past weeks' experience, you want to be about half a second better than that to feel good about your chances.
So you got to be at least something in the 40s.
I was going to say 20s or 30s right now, but we'll just have to see a few cars run and see where that ends up. And he actually picks up 3 100s, but I just don't think a 30-58 is going to let you race.
Dick?
Darrell Waltrip says to be really fast, you got to hang it out. How far out you hang it to qualify second?
Man, I knew we changed a lot, and I didn't know what to expect based on all the speeds that everybody picked up. And the way I came to green, I thought I was in for a long 30 seconds, and it went by pretty quick. I ran a groove up a little bit out of the bumps because the bumps seemed to be upsetting us really bad. And I thought that would take our chances away from getting a pole, but heck, to be second, I'll take it. I mean, it was a busy lap, but my guy's been working hard, and you can just tell the step in the pep in their step. It feels good with the Miller Lite Dodge right now.
This whole team has come alive in 2009. Well done.
Well, he was on the front row last week, so we'll see if he can stay there. I think he might be able to.
Boy, Bill Elliott can get it done here. He had 16 straight top 10 starts at this track, and within that streak, 9 straight top 5 finishes. George's favorite son.
Looks like he may end up being a little faster than Scott Riggs, but I don't think he's going to be where he's starting. He got a good run off turn 4, picked it up a little bit.
See what he can do.
31st for Elliott, a 30.28.
Yeah, now
that's looking a little better.
I think that'll race.
Yeah. I think this will be pretty common with these go-homers unless somebody runs down in the 29s. I just you got to go down swinging if you think there's any doubt whatsoever.
Oh yeah, you don't want to go home and say, man, if I'd have just run that second lap.
Well, you look at Scott Riggs, he picked up 3 100s. You just never know. We've been talking about thousands being the difference between racing and going home.
Well, hey, there's one more position for Elliott. He's up to 30th with a 30.25.
Good job, Bill.
Coming up, Dave Blaney and Joe Nemechek. Subway, home of the famous, always made fresh $5 footlong. Subway, eat fresh. And brought to you by Ask.com. Get the answers to all your racing questions at Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. Mark Martin quickest. We're in knockout qualifying. Dave Blaney.
He was only 38th quickest in practice, but this looks awfully good in this 66 car. They missed the show at Las Vegas.
It's going to be right up there.
I think it's going to be a great run for him.
24th.
Prism Motorsports looks like they'll be here on Sunday. 30-13 for Blaney.
Crank that up.
I believe I'd shut him down there too. That it's not locked in yet by no means, but I think that'll race.
9. Good job, Dave. Good job, Bill. Everybody.
That would be car owner Phil Parsons.
Yes, it would.
Lakeland, Florida's Joe Nemechek will be our next qualifier. 12 knockout cars, 4 of which will head home. And Nemechek, for the 4th week in a row, brings that car out with blank quarter panels and hopes to get something going here. Qualified 22nd at Las Vegas after missing the show in California.
He ran a 30.67 in practice earlier, so if he can do that pickup that what we're seeing about everybody go with, I think he might end up being in pretty good shape.
Sure looks like it.
Wow.
Tractor's jumping around there, but it's
stuck it through 1 and 2, didn't he?
It's jumping around in the right area anyway.
And the reason it's jumping around is because there's so many cars so tight right in that area.
Got back in the throttle. See,
Wow.
the key is
great run.
Just map that throttle and you'll be all right.
How about this for Joe Nemechek, 8th quickest.
29.81 for Joe, 185.9 miles per hour.
It ain't the front row, but he'll take it.
It probably feels like the front row.
No kidding.
Well, it's the front row of the go or go home crowd.
Great job there, Joe. Great job.
10-4, that was pretty smooth. I tried getting a little more of that second lap into one, and it bottomed out pretty bad.
And you know, we've said so much, I think, about Tommy Baldwin and Scott Riggs, Jeremy Mayfield, and his efforts. This effort right here came together about as late as those efforts. I know Joe had a shop, but there wasn't a lot of people in place, and there wasn't a lot of parts in race cars.
But Joe has had his own team, you know. He has the experience of running his own car. And he's got his dad. I saw his dad down there today. And they have some experience at doing what they're doing. And they do have equipment in a shop. So
They just need something on that race
That's
car.
right. If they had a little bit of money, I think Joe would be in good shape.
David Gilliland coming off a 14th place finish at Las Vegas for the Racers Group.
Had a great run last week in Las Vegas, qualified 30th, but ended up finishing in the top 15, finished 14th.
Nose of that car looked nervous, like it was hunting around, and not a bad lap. 29th at a 30.16.
High Lee, high low. The hunting we will go.
He's got 2 cars, 2 of the go homers in front of him right now. He's got 2 of the go homers behind him.
That green mark to the left, that is Joe Nemechek, and he is locked in. He will race on Sunday here in Atlanta.
Well, I know if I'm Joe or if I'm Blaney or Gilliland, when I pull in my garage stall, I'm on the left side of the screen, and that's a good thing.
That's right.
Exactly right.
29th for David Gilliland. Coming up, Todd Bodine and Tony Stewart.
Come true for kids who really deserve it just by getting your NASCAR Day pin at NASCAR.com/NASCAR Day.
Todd Bodine will be our next qualifier.
Yeah, Todd's got some work to do in what he practiced. He was one of the slower cars. Now, Todd qualified last week at Las Vegas, but that was driving the 64 car that actually his brother Jeff Bodine will attempt to qualify here just shortly.
This car didn't practice well, and 30.44, well, he's ahead of Scott Riggs, but 5th of the 6 go homers so far. So this run will likely lock Dave Blaney into the field.
Daryl, I feel okay about that 30-13 of Dave Blaney, probably even the 16 of Gilliland, but I still, that 30-28 with Bill Elliott is by no means out of the woods yet.
No, Stewart's, Stewart should be pretty quick. Not sure about Mayfield. We know Allmendinger will be quick.
And we know Dave Blaney will race on Sunday.
Quapple should be pretty good.
Blaney's in, and Todd Bodine is on the wrong end of the chart with a 30.44. Dick is with, well, right now he's 4th row, Joe, but that's okay, isn't it?
It sure is under these circumstances, because Joe Nemechek has beaten teams with $20 million sponsors. He's got no sponsor at all on the back of that thing. Teams with 50, 100 people. How many people worked on this car?
We have a total of 5 people, and we're just doing what we can afford to do right now, and thankful for getting our race cars. We bought some race cars from Red Bull, their last year's cars, and Triad Engine Development's doing the engines. They're making good power. Philippe and Derek and a lot of the guys I have on this team, they have experience with other teams, and I'm telling you, we got a great package. We just need a little bit of money to make this team go, and we're so close. I mean, we need a little bit of money so we can run and be competitive.
Congratulations on a fabulous job.
Great run, and here's another one. Tony Stewart looking for a top 10 run here.
See, I think he and Darian Grubb, they must have just hit it off immediately, because they have just been they've been spot on ever since they started running at Daytona.
Stewart's run is great news for Bill Elliott, because Tony has just timed his way into the race, and that means that Bill Elliott will be in the race on Sunday, either on time or by the Champions Provisional.
And that's a pretty steamy lap too. A 29.84 puts him 11th.
But you know, back to Joe Nemechek, he's sitting there, he ran 2 100 slower than 3-time champion Jimmy Johnson, a guy that's won races here, and he's a little quicker by 1/100th than the man that won the race here a year ago, Kyle Busch. It's a great effort by that race team.
Puts him in great company. I just hope he can pick up a sponsor between now and Sunday so he can fire tires at that car and run all day. Jeremy Mayfield also missed the show at Las Vegas after making the season's first 2 races. Not quick in practice, and he is going to need to get probably in the teens, if not right on about 30-20, if he wants to race here Sunday.
And talking about Joe, it's just one hurdle at a time. Okay, I'm in the race.
Right.
Now we'll work on getting some tires and a pit crew for the race, and then we'll worry about the race.
Jeremy Mayfield is going to be the slowest of 43 so far at a 30.81. And that lap, well, it won't lock David Gilliland in because of Bill Elliott and the Champions Provisional situation, but it will send Gilliland 1 step closer to racing on Sunday.
Yeah, right now it looks like who's in real jeopardy. 2 teams that made the first 2 races, and both of them missed Las Vegas. That's Scott Riggs in the 36 car, and now Jeremy Mayfield in the 71. They're not locked out yet, but they're back there, I think, in trouble.
Yep.
Second lap is a little slower for Mayfield, whose Cup career started here in 1995.
They've just struggled ever since they unloaded earlier today. It's like when you look at them in the 36, the tracks, the bump stops, the bumps you have to deal with, maybe teams that don't have access to these pull-down rigs, that's where they're struggling right now, Darrell.
Sure seems that way. They had good cars at Daytona. They were very competitive down there, but ever since we've gone to these high-speed racetracks, they've suffered.
Not only has A.J. Allmendinger qualified for all the first 3 races of the season, he started in the top 20 in all 3 races that we've had so far.
And he was 10th quickest in that practice earlier.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I know he made one really nice qualifying run there and ended up in the top 10. So, car's fast, kid's fast.
You know, you talked about Darian Grubb and then Tony Stewart. It's almost like that Sammy Johns and AJ, they've really clicked together.
Going the wrong way.
Yeah, he got it in and got on the apron. Way too much on the apron.
Yeah, he's about going to have to run both laps.
Now that lap, 30-30, if he can't improve on that, it will lock in David Gilliland. Allmendinger's got to go.
Well, we've seen him do it. I mean, I remember him laying it on the wall and never backing out the gas at Bristol when he had to time in when he was driving that 10 car. He's getting a lot of apron getting into 3.
I just don't think he's gonna. No, he's not. It's just not gonna get there right now. Now that will send Jeremy Mayfield to the house, though.
It will, but it leaves Allmendinger hanging on by his fingernails. It locks in David Gilliland. Oh, it's going to be close to go or go home for Allmendinger. Jeffrey Bodine, Mike Bliss, and Travis Kvapil yet to qualify.
Okay.
Cars to go. Who will make the show? Here is Jeffrey Bodine, who is the track record holder at 197.5 miles an hour when this track was newly reconfigured. But The Gunzelman car just has not got up to speed all day.
This probably will be good news for A.J. Allmendinger.
Yep.
I'm sure Jeff will go ahead and run the second lap. He'll about have to. This car did qualify last week at Las Vegas with Todd driving the car, Todd Bodine.
We had a visit from some of Georgia's 4,800 peanut farmers. Peanuts are a $2 billion industry in this state. They're the official state crop. Jimmy Carter, Georgia's most famous.
Guess there's going to be a lot of peanut farmers here on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Big crowd. Jeffrey Bodine, 31:01. And that's the caboose on this train. Mayfield and Jeffrey Bodine are headed home. There are 2 spots left. A.J. Allmendinger is in. Mike Bliss is on the track.
You know, he's talking about peanuts. It's incredible the amount of products that have peanut butter and peanuts in them. They brought a basket over by the motor coach over there earlier this afternoon, and it was just full of stuff that they have peanuts in.
Yeah,
amazing.
They tell us Americans consume 700 million pounds of peanut butter every year, and I think only about 2 million pounds of that is at my house.
I don't know, they got a couple of 100-pound back here in the compound. We make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches out of it.
All right, Mike Bliss, to be safe, has to get past Todd Bodine's 30-44.
It's looking pretty good right now. This car has not made a race in 2009. Keselowski was in it at Daytona, Brad, and then Sterling Marlin attempted to make Fontana in Las Vegas.
When he played with that throttle the way he was, it just
did it. Just barely. Mike Bliss 30-35. He will race on Sunday. Scott Riggs goes home.
Keep digging, keep digging.
No, you're in the show.
Well, that's a 35-4 to a 35-8. Well, let's see. No, that's Andretti.
44-3 is what Todd Bodine. I don't know why they're telling him to keep digging, because he's in the show.
He's good to go.
And this lap will be slower.
I think they just wanted to mess with the driver.
But that's good. These boys will make their first race in 2009, and Mike Bliss will make his first Cup start in 2009.
Heck, I think he's going to run it. That means he'll be in all 3 races, I guess.
Well, that would be okay, but there's only 2 here this weekend.
Well, both today and tomorrow, yeah.
The double duty drivers are Mike Bliss, Todd Bodine, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick. So the final spot is between Travis Kvapil and Todd Bodine. Bodine's lap 30-44. That's what the Wisconsin driver has to beat.
Boy, he's chopping wood, I can tell you that.
He was 31st quickest in practice at a 30.75. So all he needs to do is pick up a little over 3/10 from what he practiced.
And the Champions Provisional will not come into play. Bill Elliott is fast enough to make the field on speed. Boy, he's close to that line, isn't he?
He is.
Daryl, I just think a lot of these go-or-go homers, they're just trying to walk that fine line between underdriving and overdriving their race car.
I tell you, when you go out there with that kind of pressure on you, yeah, he's fine.
That's a great lap.
Going to make it in okay, but that's a lot of pressure. You just don't realize what it means to go out there knowing that you've got to qualify on speed. You've got to get the car in on time.
And that last week you did.
You're in 30.08.
Yep, Travis Kvapil is 22nd. And that will send Todd Bodine home along with Scott Riggs, Jeremy Mayfield, and Jeffrey Bodine.
He also had the pressure. I think this is the home for Golden Corral, so I'm sure they probably have a lot of people out here this weekend.
Yeah, it is. Didn't we go speak to all of them?
We did.
A couple years ago.
That's right. We went downtown. Yeah.
For the first time since Richmond of May 2001, Mark Martin will start a Sprint Cup race from the pole. It is his 42nd career pole, 12th on the all-time list, one behind Ryan Newman. He's the 2nd oldest pole winner of all time to Harry Gant. Krista.
And I am with a very happy Mark Martin. Mark, you had said you were a little worried because your practice lap was so early in practice. You had nothing to worry about.
Ooh, I tell you what, I wish I would have believed you because I wouldn't be sick now. I tell you, I'm still shaking. I feel like a rookie, to be real honest with you. That's really, really, really cool. And in the 8 car last year, those guys gave me 6 outside poles, and it's pretty cool for Allen and CarQuest and Kellogg's and all this bunch, especially after what we've gone through here. You know, the first 3 races, the car's been fast, and even though I did run out of talent on that lap, at least we made it to the line sooner than anybody else. So I'm really proud for this team.
He's wrong. His talent is limitless.
A great lap for Mark Martin. He will share the front row with Kurt Busch. Joe Nemechek first in class among the Go Argo homers. We'll be right back.
Reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Now, just for the record, when Harry Gant won the last pole of his career at Bristol Motor Speedway, he was 54 years and 7 months old. That is the oldest Sprint Cup driver to win a pole. Mark Martin now #2 in that category as he captures his 42nd career pole and his first in 257 races. There's the grid. Montoya, no surprise, did surprise us. How about that?
Kurt Busch on the outside pole again this week.
Jamie Mack. That really was a great lap, despite what he said about it.
But I'm going to tell you what, the one I'm proud of is Joe Nemechek up there in the top 8.
Yeah, that's an interesting top 10, really.
There's a look back through. Tony Stewart getting in on time, and Travis Kvapil, the fastest 3 of the drivers who had to qualify on time.
Carl Edwards deep in the field.
Yeah.
Man, it's won here 3 times. He'll start 29th.
And Mike Bliss, first race they've made this year.
How about Bobby Labonte?
Yeah,
a guy that came in here with a lot of high hopes.
Todd Bodine goes home along with Scott Riggs, Jeremy Mayfield, and Jeffrey Bodine. Daytona Bike Week coverage is next. We'll have practice, and don't forget the truck race tomorrow right here on Speed. Thanks for joining us, folks.